What's happening? How you doing? Thanks for coming back to my channel. And it's not like I've really got much on there. I'm still figuring all this stuff out, and I keep wanting to do more videos, and something tells me not to. Um, I'm not trying to make money off of this. I'm just trying to give my viewpoint. And since all y'all know, I ain't got no friends, so, I got to spill it with somebody. Why not you? Anyway, there's something I want to talk about, and that's this Carmelo Anthony thing. The words that's being put out, and I'm taking this from what the media has pushed out there, and I don't know what I agree with. I don't know what I disagree with because I don't know all the facts. First of all, let's go by his life situation. I'm told he came from a decent home surroundings where he's got his family, and his family's not struggling. They're doing all right. So, I'm not sure his situation, but I guess that there was a reason why he needed to take a knife to school. Don't know. I don't know the school, so I can't give an opinion on that. But I will say that we all need to have something for self-defense, because we're going to be faced with situations here and there that, excuse me, without having a self-defense mechanism, be it in the mind or be it with a weapon, anything. But we have to protect ourselves, right? So, a lot of things flashing through my mind that I need to do videos on, but let's get back to the Karmelo. Now, his being black put him more into a situation where everybody's got their own opinions, and without knowing the situation, you have to judge based on what you know. And we can only judge by what they have told us. So, but anyway, he comes from a good home. So I don't know what the situation is there. But I will say this. His home situation isn't in a bind where, now there's going to be racial threats, no matter how you look at it, because whites, okay, this is black versus white, all right? So let's keep it at that. By his being black, the white people definitely think he needs to be behind bars. They try not to make it a racial thing, but let's face it, it is what it is. And by him having done what he did to a white boy, most of the people say he should be behind bars. Okay, now let's go with what he actually did. He had a knife in his backpack. Why? Who knows? Maybe that was his self-defense, in case he needed it, in whatever situation he embarked upon. But he went in this tent, from my understanding, to get protection from the rain. It was raining, and I don't know how bad it was raining. I don't know if he went in the tent to, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know if he went in the tent to instigate a particular situation or not, but he went there for cover. And hell, I respect the fact that it wasn't his school's tent, so he shouldn't have been in there. But the other school had, and we all know jocks are bullies most cases. And in this case, there were two brothers in there who were bullies at their school. So with them being at his school, they had this tent that protected their school from the rain. And, he just happened to be there and wanted to get some cover. Now, instead of welcoming him, they taunted him. And I wonder if he were white, if they would have taunted him like they did. I don't know. But anyway, he gave the dude a chance to back away and leave him alone. But they, being bullies, had to antagonize him and see what he would do. He gave them warning, said, "You touch me, see what happens." And of course, I look at that as self-defense because they could have backed off. They could have said, okay, this dude, he's serious. He ain't playing. So they could have done that. But no, they're being bullies. They had to instigate their own situation and started pushing on him and making the public from their school being passive in a certain way. They thought that their school would support them in their being bullies. So I don't know. Again, there's too many questions that I have that would bring me to if this was a racial thing or not, or even a self-defense thing. I'm looking at it as though it were self-defense. And because he warned them, he gave them a chance to leave the situation alone. Let him be, because he wasn't bothering nobody. He was just sitting there for cover from the rain. I guess, again, we can only go by what the media tells us. So, they pushed him, and from what I was told, they had hit him. I don't know if this was fact or not, but nonetheless, he pulls out the knife that he was using for self-defense, in any situation. This wasn't instigated to happen the way it did. It was a situation that happened that made him do what he had to do. Now, first of all, I don't look as though what he did was right because, I would have had a knife too, because if I knew that those bullies were going to bother me like that, I would have used something too. But I don't carry a knife, so I really can't say anything about that. But nonetheless, he had a knife and he used it. Instead of just flashing and saying, okay, leave me the F alone. I'm not down with y'all, so leave me alone. Anyway, so now we are faced with the situation that he stabbed a dude. And apparently when he stabbed him, he used some serious force because it went all the way through his body. It hit his lungs, his heart, all that. At least that's what I'm told. Again, back to the media telling us what they want us to know. So that's what I'm going on. Anyway, so he admitted it. and he admitted self-defense. And I respect that. I really think it was self-defense. They shouldn't have taunted him the way they did. And because they did what they did, he had every right to defend himself. So that's what I think. Now, with his going to jail, I'm going back to race here because had he been white, I don't think he would have. Now, if the situation was reversed, where the dude that was killed was black and the perpetrator was white, let's face it, the white boy would not be in jail. Or if he were in jail, he wouldn't have had $1 million bond. You know, I'm sorry, but I've lived long enough in my life, and I've been through a lot of damn situations that I have the right to say what I think is true. So this is what I'm thinking is true. Now, since he was black, he's put in jail. And even though it was self-defense, he's put down as $1 million bond, knowing that even though his parents may have been well off, I ain't gonna say they were that well off where they could post the bond, but nonetheless, so they started raising money, and they ended up getting a $400,000 GoFundMe or whatever it was that they used to raise the money. But that $400,000 was supposed to go towards his defense. Now they're talking about buying a new home. What the hell is going on? That's what I got pissed about the Black Lives Matter, because they ended up getting millions of dollars and the CEO buys a new home with that money. It's just a scheme, even though they're making this a scheme based on what actually happened. But that $400,000 should be used towards his defense. And, a lot of attorneys are on YouTube saying that self-defense is going to be a hard thing to prove. Well, hell, y'all got enough money from this defense fund that you should be able to work this out. Because we all know that no matter what the situation is in court, it's who you know and how much money you got. Because let's face it, if he had ended up having a public defender wouldn't have the funds to be able to do the research and get all the things going that they do. He's got a defense team that and surfaces more than 2 or 3 people. So whatever works. But nonetheless, I totally disagree with them using that money to buy a home. So now that he's out, he's taunted further by white people. Haven't heard anything about black people hounding him or pushing him to new limits or whatever. I hear it's just white people. And if it is just white people, it makes it more of a racial thing to me. But that's just my opinion. So anyway, I'm not going to keep this video going for too long, even though I feel like I've talked enough. I feel like he should be out. I feel like that money should be used towards his defense. I feel like it was self-defense. I feel like he was battling with bullies. And the reason why I guess I'm more towards the self-defense is because he told them, touch me and see what happens. They could have backed off. They could have left him alone. But no, because he was black and they probably come from a predominantly white situation, they felt the need to harass him. and being the bullies that they were in school, maybe they thought everybody in that tent would support them and what they were doing. So I don't know. Again, all my opinions. Just to let you all know, I grew up in the ghettos of Detroit, and I've seen a hell of a lot, especially in the 60s, where there was racial divide, segregation, all that shit. And I was against everything. I just felt that people were people, and we can't help that we were born white, black, pink, purple, orange, whatever. And the reason why I brought up the orange, y'all already know, because Trump is orange. I don't care what anybody says. I don't know what that shit is he uses, but it's orange, and it makes him orange. But anyway, I'm going to end this video here because I've already given my viewpoint. And you all get a chance to see what I think about this whole situation. I'll end up doing other videos because there's too many things that I have opinions on, and I ain't got nobody to talk to. So I'm going to go ahead and spill the beans on y'all. But again, they're my opinions, and anything that I say is strictly my opinion. So take it for what it's worth. Y'all have a good night. Enjoy your day.